Life is full of surprises. Isn't it time you surprised it for a change? By learning to grow healthier, planning not only how you'll save, but why. Getting wiser beyond your years, before those years. Plus scoring more points and exclusive perks as an AARP member. Start now. Don't stop. Reward yourself now and thank yourself later. AARP Rewards. Reward yourself.
I was searching for something that would add meaning to my life.
I want to do what a hero does.
Can I fix your napkins? You touch me and you're in a lot of trouble. Sorry.
It seemed like I heard a voice saying, "This is your calling."
I can teach you a jump that I do.
Okay, please.
What are the other 65-year-old people doing?
If there's one thing this pandemic has taught us, it's that we can still connect and find ways to have fun, even from home. That's why AARP continues to offer events designed for learning, self-improvement, and fun, including concerts, movies, classes, and more. Our virtual community center features free online events that fit your interests, like cooking or yoga, virtual museum visits, and incredible lecture series. And at AARP.org, we have articles, videos, and other resources to give you the most important information when you need it. The coronavirus crisis will end. Until then, AARP is committed to helping you find fun and fulfillment through the days ahead.
Well, good evening, everybody. Great videos, right? So hello and welcome to this evening's presentation of Breathing for Better Sleep. And this is an event is on part of AARP's Virtual Community Center, an online destination at aarp.org/BCC, where you can find free virtual events that designed for learning, self-improvement, and most importantly, fun. So good evening, my name is Yvette Sechrist McGlasson. I'm your host for this evening's presentation. And I want to begin by saying thank you. Thank you for your time, for joining me this evening. For me, the most important commodity on the planet is time, because it's the one thing you can never get back. So I value your time and your attention. And my intention for you this evening is that you get to take away a nugget of something that may inspire you to make some minor changes in your life that will help you breathing better and in sleeping better at the same time. So before we go into our deep dive with this double header topic of breath and sleep, because they do actually go together, a little bit about myself so you have an idea who I am sitting here speaking with you. So my background, actually I began my career working on the high seas. I worked on cruise ships for 15 years. And I had, like most crew members, I had this, well, you know what, I'll sleep when I'm on vacation mentality. But back then I had no idea that sleep was not like your bank account. You didn't pay it forward and it wasn't something that you could ever accrue interest on. So eventually I woke up to the idea that, well, I had to do something, because I knew that my yoga practice, my meditation practice wasn't actually helping me enough, because my stress levels from my job were so debilitating that I was going home from my contracts completely exhausted. My adrenal glands were shot. And my immune system was compromised, and I usually ended up in bed with the flu of some sort. So, and I had horrible, horrible sleep patterns back then, I can just tell you. So by 2012, I realized that there's something more that had to be happening in life, and I wanted a better quality of life for myself. So I chose to do a deep dive into a path that involved stepping out of the high seas and going to live in an ashram in the middle of the Ocala National Forest, as a matter of fact. And I spent 3 years living in this yogic community. And it was there that I recognized that the one component that was missing from my practice that helped to amplify my practice was breath work. And I had done a deep dive into teaching. I became a yoga teacher. I became a teacher of yoga therapy. I'm also a teacher of yoga nidra meditation, which is sleep-based meditation. I teach breath work. Really importantly, which is for trauma and resiliency. I work with heart math, as well as I'm an author. So throughout the pandemic, I was so inspired by the combination of science of sleep, with the yogic approach to sleep, which is why we have the topic tonight is better breath and better sleep. So I'm not suggesting that you step off out of reality and go to live in an ashram, but I'm going to be giving you some ideas that will inspire you for, again, making changes in your life that are so simple. They are incredibly simple. But I can tell you one thing that I know for a fact from my own practice was that from learning how to breathe properly, which is something 90% of this planet does not do at this point in time, but I recognized that I slept better. I also, all the bronchial problems I'd had since childhood are gone. And I haven't had a bronchial infection in 10 years as a result of the breath work that I learned and continue to practice to this day. So not only am I healthier, my vitality is off the charts, and I feel like I've aged in reverse, and not a bad combination, right? So I hope some of this comes through to you tonight. So if we look at sleep, to start with sleep, for as a matter of fact, because we're talking about how sleep affects all of us, it's one of those things that every person on the planet is we all have in common. And whether you are an insect to a whale to a human being, we all require sleep. And sleep does affect the quality of our lives. And getting 1 extra hour of sleep a night can improve the quality of your life by 55%. 55%. So what I suggest that you do, if you have a pen and paper, please feel free to take notes. I'll be giving you a to-do list of things you can do to make changes in your living environment. Before we get into some breath practices, there are things that will help you not only get to sleep, but stay asleep, and then also things you can practice throughout the day. So when you are having any kind of anxiety issues or panic attacks, or your stress levels are out of control, these are practices you can bring into your daily life that when you begin to practice them throughout the day, they extend into your sleep patterns at night. And so keep that in mind for yourself. So also, this presentation is being recorded, so it will be available to you after the fact. If you have questions at any point during that, just pop up into your mind. There's a chat box that's right to your right for your Zoom call, and you can either send the chat to a question to me as a host and panelist, or share it with everyone. So that's your option there. But I do suggest if you can take notes, please do so. Since we are doing breath work this evening and a few practices here and there, normally I would say, please always consult with your doctor when it comes time for any kind of exercise workout regimen. But everything we're doing tonight is for relaxation. There are breath practices out there that you can find on YouTube. You can find teachers who give them, who will teach you different styles. But if you have high blood pressure, there are definite contraindications to breath practices with a higher frequency of breath. So everything we're doing tonight is for relaxation. And if you feel like going to sleep at the end of the presentation, awesome, because the team with AARP will turn the video off for you. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? So as I mentioned, 1 extra hour of sleep a night is going to improve the quality of your life by 55%. And if we look at from a functional medicine perspective, I'm also a functional medicine health coach. So as a health coach, you look at the pillars of wellness as established by functional medicine, and those are fitness, stress, relationships, nutrition, sleep. Because of my yogic background, I add breath in there. So there are 6 pillars. But without sleep, sleep is the one that directly affects every one of those pillars of wellness. So just like a pillar holds up your overall health quality, but if one starts to weaken, the other ones have to try and compensate. But over time, it's just not sustainable. And then the entire system will begin to break down, and that affects everything in your body, mind, heart, and soul, basically. So what happens is we end up exhausted, and it's no wonder with what's going on over the past 2 years with the pandemic. I mean, we are mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and maybe even spiritually just drained. And we hope that sleep fulfills us, but because our minds are so busy trying to solve all the problems of the world, our minds are so busy, all of a sudden we're in bed, and every single thing that we didn't do, everything that we have to do, all shows up in the brain. And they just lay there and we toss and turn, and we wake up the next day even more exhausted than the night before. So sleep increases our stress, and we end up more stressed the next day as a result of the lack of sleep. Now, when it comes time for the sleep and how sleep is affecting every person on the planet, as I mentioned, we are looking at a global pandemic. There are more sleep centers that are open today than there were, let's say, 30 years ago. When sleep centers started studying this, it was probably maybe 3 sleep centers that were, available in the entire country of the United States. Today, there's about 2,500. So that tells you how far we've come down the rabbit hole with the impact of lack of sleep that's had on the human body here in the United States. So I'm not trying to stress you out even more, but I want to give you an idea of how impactful the lack of sleep is on your body and your mind, okay? So the US Army did a study, and they were studying their sharpshooters and how the accuracy of hitting a target was compromised by the fact that they weren't getting enough sleep. So they used sleep deprivation on purpose for this study. Now, I'm going to use the equivalent of, let's say you get into a building, it's 100 stories, and you're at the top floor, and you hit the button to go down, and you hit the button thinking you're going to drop 1 or 2 flights. Actually, you drop 50 the first, and then from there you continue to go down. That's how drastic lack of sleep can have on the brain and our decision-making practices, and also with the accuracy of the sharpshooters. So if you have 7 hours of sleep or more, you have an accuracy rate of 98%. If you lose an hour and you're only getting 6 hours of sleep at night, your accuracy goes from 98% to 50%. If you lose 1 more hour of sleep and just getting 5 hours of sleep a night, your accuracy rate is going to 23%. And if you're getting anything less than 5 hours of sleep a night, your accuracy rate is 13%. So from 98% to 50% to 23 to 13, you can see the drastic drop for a sharpshooter. Now you can say, well, Yvette, that's the military, their job is to protect the country. Yes, I get it. But this is the difference. If you are sitting and trying to, balance your checking account or make a decision for your finances, for your investments, that could be a $200 mistake all the way to a $20,000 and $200,000 mistake. And this is all because we have a lack of sleep. So again, you can say, well, it's only a certain situation where sleep impacts us the most, but really it's not regimented to an age, a gender, a religion. Lack of sleep is a universal problem. So I want to touch just briefly on how much sleep you should be getting for your age group. And when the National Sleep Foundation came out with these statistics, what they came was they had a fewer category of individuals. Because we're living longer, they've actually expanded categories. But tonight, I'm just going to touch on a couple. When it comes time for younger adults between the ages of 18 to 25, a new category, then you're looking at 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Adults between the ages of 26 to 64, we're looking at 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And then older adults who are 65 plus, this is a new category as well. We're looking at 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. So again, they've expanded the categories because it was so important to address the fact that we were living longer. But yet, although we're living longer, it doesn't mean that the quality of our lives is improving because we're not getting the sleep that we need. So I just want to touch briefly on the science of Ayurveda, because living in an ashram, this is what you study. You study yogic studies. You have the science of yoga, and also includes Ayurveda. So Ayurveda means science of life. It's been around for 5,000 years. It comes from India. And in an Ayurvedic perspective, they don't look at your age. They look at your dosha, and that is your body's constitution. There are 3 doshas out there. There's a kapha, a vata, and a pitta. A kapha is somebody who tends to have thicker bones, almond-shaped eyes. Their speech tends to be slower, skin a little bit oilier, tend to be darker complected. If you are a very grounded people, very earthy people. If you are a vata, you are very airy, you're very ethereal, you're very thin, tiny boned, kind of your wispy kind of sense to yourself. And then when you're a pitta, you're somebody who is fair complected, fiery, mental, just on it. So when it comes time for your dosha and how much sleep that you need, if you're a kapha, you need about 6 hours of sleep. If you are a pitta, you need about 6 to 7 hours of sleep. And if you're a vata, it's 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And if you're interested, you can go into, Deepak Chopra has done a lot of really great work about the doshas, explaining it into a Western mind mentality. And you can do a dosha quiz and try and figure out what dosha that you are. because you may read that, okay, well, I'm 65 years old and I should be getting this amount of sleep, but I sleep about 7 hours. I'm totally okay with that. And then you think that, and you start thinking, and you start to think and think, oh my gosh, I should be sleeping more. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And then you put that much pressure on yourself. So if you kind of take into consideration, yes, we have this National Sleep Foundation, these hours, and we look at Ayurveda, and you blend the two together, you find a happy balance for yourself because you learn to accept things a little bit differently, different perspective. And I think that's what I brought when I wrote the Hello Sleep, Good Night Sleep, Goodbye Sleepless Nights. I took that yogic perspective into the science of sleep and blended the two together. So I just want to mention a couple of things when it comes time for sleep. This is where your to-do list is, okay? So if you got paper and a pen, jot these things down. And please do not think you have to do all of them to sleep better, but try one, try two, and see how they work out for you. If they work out, then try another one, okay? So the first one's a big one. Take the TV out of your bedroom. I know, mic drop moment, TV out of the bedroom. But the stimulation from the news, what you're watching programming, you say, well, we're just watching a movie and it's got Tom Cruise, and he's jumping off of a building. Well, because he's jumping off the building, your body is kind of keeping up with that excitement level. And it's only counterintuitive to where you're trying to go, which is to sleep. So taking the TV out of the bedroom is a good first step. Now, if you think, okay, I can't do that, it's a big deal, just turn it off earlier, at least 30 minutes to an hour before you want to go to sleep. Turn the TV off. Very important. If you have a really, really busy brain that just does not seem to stop, and you have a habit of waking up in the middle of the night and you have all these thoughts going on in your head, write them down. Just keep a sleep journal next to the bed and just jot. It doesn't matter how good your penmanship is. Just write the notes in your head, because once you get the thoughts out of the head onto the paper, you have that peace of going, oh, I will remember this in the morning, and then you can go back to sleep, okay? Now, in things to do with your bedroom specifically, this is actually for your household. When you go to sleep at night, a temperature of the house is a perfect between 62 to 72 degrees. That is the best sleep temperature. And this is so important. You might be wondering why. Is because when you are sleeping, your body's not shutting off. Your body still has to do what it needs to do, which is why sleep is so important for the brain, because sleeping is the dishwashing system for the brain, because your brain dumps all the toxins and the proteins that have built up in the body throughout the day. And this is where your long-term memory gets stored, is when you're sleeping. But if you're not going into that deeper sleep, your body can't do what it was born to do naturally. And I want to say that you're a miracle. You are a modern miracle. You are not a machine. You're not a cell phone. Your body is a phenomenon that even science is still revealing. So in getting that kind of sleep and the temperature, what's happening is your hormones fluctuate. And this is especially for women as well, is your hormones fluctuate so much, and you can have surges of hormone releases, which raises the body temperature. And when you get warm at night, you wake up. So keeping the room at a cooler temperature is something that's going to help you stay asleep longer, okay? So cooler room, install blackout shades. Blackout shades, if you have ambient light from a street light, that's still going to wake you up, especially if you're a Vata Pitta combination. You tend to have thinner skin. The skin over your eyelids tends to be thinner. So any kind of outside light that's not natural light is going to disturb you eventually. It's that same as that light on the TV, the light on your VCR, whatever you've got. So put your cell phones in the bathroom and put them on airplane mode. Just do not have them by your bed. So electronics, keep them as far away from you as possible. You want obviously a comfortable mattress, pillows. Also make sure that if you have a partner, you have a mattress that doesn't have you, if he or she turns over and you're in their sleep and it disturbs you, those memory foam mattresses are really beneficial to you. Okay, so this is some idea to your bedroom. Okay, cool, soft colors are also, when you look at color therapy, softer colors are also beneficial to you as well. Okay, now Other things to do that take a little bit more of a drastic change before we get into the breathwork side of it. If you are a napper during the day, try to avoid napping. Napping disturbs your sleep at night. Create a sleep schedule and stick to it 7 days a week. And I cannot tell you how important this is, because most of us will sleep, Monday through Friday, certain times, and we sleep longer, or we go to bed later on the weekends, but you disrupt that sleep pattern. And it's really, really disruptive to the whole body system. Try and get some exercise every single day. 20 to 30 minutes is a good thing. That you don't have to be out pumping iron or, climbing a mountain, but just getting out and getting moving. If you live in an area where you have sunshine, 30 minutes or 20 minutes of sunshine in the morning, 20 to 30 minutes in the afternoon will help you reset the circadian rhythm. And when you have a circadian rhythm, that's the wake up with the sunrise and go to sleep with the sun down. And this circadian rhythm is something that will help reset your body's clock for better sleep. Try and cut down on alcohol and caffeine. Caffeine up until noon, anything after noon is going to disrupt your sleep, because the body holds on to the rush of that caffeine. And if you're not hydrating well enough, you're not flushing the caffeine enough out of your body, and you end up with those jitters that still continue and disrupt your sleep patterns. Try and eat dinner earlier. Try and eat dinner before the sun goes down. This way, the blood has, and your digestive juices have started to move the food through your system so that it's not waking you up. Because if you are, again, digesting your food when you're trying to rest, the hormonal inflections are going to happen up and down, and you'll go awake and then asleep, and you'll never get that deep REM or delta sleep, okay? Let's see. Before bed, this is where breathwork comes in, and a nighttime ritual like Epsom salts and aromatherapy like lavender oil in the shower when you go to sleep at night, before you have a bath before bed, is extremely relaxing. Lavender is a great oil to use, even to help you sleep on put it on your pillow, on the soles of your feet. Will help to induce a sense of relaxation and calm. So that aromatherapy can also positively impact your sleep. Okay, so this is some ideas about sleeping. Now, when we get into our breath work and how our breath work can impact how we sleep, this is where to do a deep dive into breath work. So just a couple of things about us and breathing. And breathing is something, question, which is more important, deep sleep or REM sleep? Well, you know what? Deep sleep, which is your delta sleep pattern, that's with your brain waves have slowed down. When you are in delta sleep, this is where the body has an ability to restore itself completely. REM sleep, in that slower REM sleep, is beneficial because it helps you process. But the average person these days, because we're not getting quality sleep, the average person these days is not even able to get into deep sleep, into delta. So this is where a breath practice and even a meditation practice can help you retrain your brain. You can create new neural pathways in the brain that become ones that actually help you get into that circadian rhythm naturally. And weighted blankets are great for those who have any kind of anxiety or panic or have bad dreams, but weighted blankets give you a sense of security. So they really are a great thing to do. All right, now, when it comes, somebody has jalapeno peppers, definitely would not work with those at night, but that's a whole other conversation. So when it comes time for breathing, it is the only bodily function that's both voluntary and involuntary. And most of us these days walk around holding our breath. We walk around holding our breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop. And if you had asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have told you that about 50% of the population does not breathe fully or properly. And when I say fully or properly, what I'm talking about is diaphragmatic breath. And what that means is breathing down into the diaphragm. If you target your belly button, where your belly button is, that's how deeply you want to be breathing in and breathing out from. So like I said, 10 years ago, I would have said half the population on the planet doesn't breathe properly. Why? Because half the population we're women. And if you look at epigenetics, and we inherit our habit patterns from our parents, our family, our community, we have our conditioning from that. So with women, we grow up, we got Spanx, we have pantyhose, girdles, you had corsets back in the day, and we're always very body conscious. And most women do not want to breathe deeply because of the belly expansion. We don't want to have anyone perceive us as being fat or overweight. Let's just be honest. But the thing is that how detrimental our lack of breath is. If you do a practice of ideal breath, which is a 5.5-second inhalation and 5.5-second exhalation, you can actually lose 2 pounds of toxins a day just by breathing properly. And you are helping your body have an incredible transformation. So your breath is a life force. It's a medicine. It's a mechanism that we can almost gain superhuman powers. And for millennia, yogis and sages from the Eastern cultures have understood the importance of diaphragmatic breathing exercises because it counters the fight or flight response system that we have from the amygdala. And if you look at how your body responds to breath, something so simple is your autonomic nervous system. You have your sympathetic, which releases cortisol, and cortisol is good for us, but when cortisol becomes a chronic dump in the body, it begins to affect the executive function of the brain, and it outbalances the parasympathetic. And the parasympathetic is where we get our serotonin, our dopamine, our melatonin, our good ones that they need to be balanced. So here is a thing. I'm going to give you a very simple, easy practice to know. If you look at your nose as your human HVAC, if the right nostril, I'm going to point to, I'm not opposite of you, obviously, but the right nostril is the sun and the left nostril is the moon. The right nostril, when it's open, is for energizing. It's for mental capacity. It is for your cortisol. It's for all these, things that we need to get through our days and our work that we do. Whereas when we go to sleep at night, the left nostril should be open and should be clear because it's going to calm us, okay? It's cooling, it's calming the body. So the right nostril warms the body, the left nostril cools the body. And this is what happens naturally. Your body was created this way. I'm not making this up. So let's try something real simple, real quick. What I want you to do is find a comfortable seated position, all right? And hopefully you're not driving and listening to this, because then you should definitely not do this practice unless you can do so with your eyes closed. So find a comfortable seated position. And what I'm going to ask you to do is put your feet flat on the floor, if you can, and have a nice straight spine. And I'm going to have you close your eyes. And by closing the eyes, just follow my guidance. And wherever you are in your breath cycles, just start to breathe in and out only through the nose. Breathe in only through the nostrils, inhaling in and out through the nostrils. And with the eyes closed, I want you to focus on your breath, to learn about your breath and how you're breathing in this moment. Notice how you're breathing. In the world of yoga, we would say that the breath is the mind made visible. And when you want to change your mind, change your breath. So just notice how you're breathing. Notice how your breath feels as it moves in and out of your nostrils. Notice how far into the body your breath comes with breath in, and how it feels to exhale. And I don't want you to change your breath, just notice the pattern of your breath. Now, as you continue with this breath, just focusing on how you're breathing. Again, the eyes are still closed. I want you to relax your jaw. Unclench the teeth. And allow your tongue to float away from the roof of the mouth. And as you do that, notice the sense of spaciousness that you have created in the mouth, the throat. Now, as you focus on your breath here, with a relaxed jaw, just simply begin to lengthen your inhalations and your exhalations intentfully. And then as you deepen your breath cycles, notice if your inhalation is the same length as your exhalation. Or notice if your exhalation is shorter or longer than the inhalation. Simply notice the rhythm of your breath as it is in this very moment. And from here, again, the eyes are still closed and you're following my guidance, just listening to my voice. I want you to inhale to a count of 5 and exhale to a count of 5. Inhale to a count of 5. Exhale to a count of 5. And as you continue with this breath practice, I want you to notice where you're breathing. Where in your body do you feel your breath? Do you feel your breath in the chest? Or can you feel the urge to breathe into the belly? Just feel the breath moving in and out of the body. Inhaling to a count of 5. Exhaling to a count of 5. And now allow your breath to return to normal. Open your eyes. Now, most of us have a shallow breath practice, and it's a habit pattern, and we tend to breathe only in the upper chest. And at some point, we feel like we have to sigh because we're just not getting enough oxygen into the body. So a simple recognition of first recognizing how you're breathing, where you're breathing from, and how to pull your breath down into your physical body will give you an ability to connect with your physical body on a way you have never before. Now, we're going to take that same counted breath, which is called a boxed breath practice. This is a beautiful one for going to sleep at night, or going to sleep, or if you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep. We're going to add a different dimension, which is a holding of the breath. This is a form of boxed breath, and it's something that the Navy SEALs teach all their trainees when they're coming through, but they do it to a count of 4. I choose a 5 because I know that ideal breath is 5.5 seconds in and 5.5 seconds out. But in releasing the toxins from the body and helping the brain do what it needs to do, this form of breath helps to build and then release the toxins and then drop you into deeper relaxation. Now, with this boxed breath, again, it's 5, 5, 5, 5. What I want to say is that I had one of my students was in a terrible car accident back in January, and she had to go to the hospital for an MRI. And when she comes to my yoga therapy classes consistently, and this is a breath practice I use with all of my students, and it's simple and it's profound. So she got into the MRI machine. I've never been in one, but I hear they're pretty kind of scary because it's rather a small tube. And she remembered, what would Yvette tell me to do? Yvette would tell me to breathe. So she did exactly what I'm going to teach you, which is an inhalation to 5, hold the breath for 5, exhale to 5, and then hold the breath out for 5. Now I can tell you that the MRI went smooth sailing, so much to the point where when she came out, the nurse who said she'd been working with MRIs for about 20 years, that she was the ideal patient. She had never had anybody come in that she didn't have to go back and redo parts of the MRI because her belly went up when she was inhaling and she held the breath. It gave the MRI machine the ability to do what it needed to do. So this is how impactful this is. So again, back to that comfortable seated position. You can also be lying down for this if you'd like. So wherever you are in the breath cycle, exhale fully now, and then inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold the breath out 2, 3, 4, 5, inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold the breath in 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold the breath out 2, 3, 4, 5, and continue with this for 5 more rounds. I'm going to answer a couple of questions. Yes, this is still being done through the nostrils only. Controlled breath. Your nostrils are an HVAC for your system. Breathing through the nose is going to improve the quality of your life. If you want to read Breathe by James Nestor, he does a full study on this issue. And for those of you who are feeling lightheaded from doing the deep breathing, it's because most likely you have a shallow breath pattern, and this full exhalation, inhalation is oxygenating your blood in ways that your body is not accustomed to. So it can feel lightheaded when you begin to practice this. So again, it's Breathe by James Nestor is the name of the book. Now, when you finish your last of your breath cycles, just return to normal. How do you hold the breath out? That's a really good question. That has to do with using the back of the tongue, because the back of the tongue, if you engage that to close the throat, you hold the breath out. So you exhale and then you just don't inhale. You pause for a count of 5. Okay, but that box breath, when the tongue is not when the tongue is not at the roof of your mouth, you feel like you're not breathing through your nose. That's interesting. Your tongue doesn't have to be touching the roof of the mouth. It's all the way back. So this kind of breath practice is going to strengthen your throat and your vocal cords. Now, I saw someone who has an issue with asthma, and there is an ideal breath that is done with an open mouth practice. We're not going to do it here because it's more of an energy. It can be energizing, but an ideal breath practice, if you work with the 5.5 in, 5.5 out, with an open mouth, with that rhythm, you can actually help you with asthma, bronchitis, ADHD. I mean, there's a whole long list of things that can help people with the ideal breath. All right, now, I mentioned that your nose is an HVAC. It is what's going to tell you where your body's at. So if you close off your left nostril and breathe only to the right, see how that feels. Breathe in and out. Just see if your nose is open. Now, interestingly enough, because I'm presenting, I'm using my brain. I'm energized. So my right nostril is fully open. If I close off my right and try and breathe only through my left, I can feel that my left is more congested because I'm not ready to be calm and to go to sleep. So somebody asked about how do you sleep at night? You can sleep on your back, which is better for the aging process. But if you're trying to even overactive mind and you want to breathe only through the left, because the left will help to calm the body. So if you roll over onto your right side and just close your right nostril and breathe only through the left, you can actually retrain your body. You can retrain your brain by breathing through the left nostril when it's time to go to sleep. In the morning, if you wake up and you notice that your right nostril is closed, just close off the left. And here's the thing. Most people, when they're breathing through the nostrils and they're struggling to breathe, you panic. You think, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get enough breath and I'm going to suffocate. But if you can relax beyond the mind that's telling you that and just relax into your breath, your body will actually open up. And that's a really good thing. So let me see if there's any questions here before I go to the next one. Oh, why is sleeping on your back better for the aging? It's better for your skin, for wrinkles. That's what I'm talking about. Not so much for your overall health, but you will actually age in reverse by sleeping on your back. Allergies in your nose is constantly stuffed. You might want to consider changing your diet. That is for sure, because if your nose is constantly stuffed and you've got allergies, you might have food allergies. And so it's good to have those things tested to see, because then once you have, you can adjust your diet and that mostly will clear up as well. Now, when it comes time for, let's say you wake up in the middle of the night and you're really hot and you want to try and cool your body down, or you're warm when you go to sleep and you want to cool the body down. There's a breath practice called Sheatley breath, which is straw breath. And that's so simple to do because you'll inhale through the nose and this is an exhalation through the mouth. But when you work with your mouth, you are exhaling through softly pursed lips, like you're blowing through a coffee straw. So if you want to find that comfortable seated position once again, you can close your eyes for a couple of moments. Just take a nice deep breath in and out with a sigh. And in and out with a sigh. Okay. Now come back to breathing in and out through the nostrils. Find the rhythm of your breath. Five in, five out. And then when this, inhale through the nose, and then exhale through softly pursed lips. Now continue to do this, but I'm going to ask you to bring your hand up to your mouth, just maybe 6 inches from the mouth. So as you inhale through the nose and then exhale through softly pursed lips, you can actually feel the cooling effect that your body is creating through this breath practice. So that's Sheatley breath, straw breath, in through the nose, out through softly pursed lips. Pretty cool, right? All right. Now that's Sheatley breath. So we did box breath, we did Sheatley breath. And I see that somebody recognized that. Oh, when do you use the straw method? You know, I use this method. We live in Florida, so it is very hot here. And it's something that I'll use when I come in from, if I'm outside working out, I use it then. There are times when I wake up in the middle of the night, if I am warm because I had dinner later and I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I can feel that I'm kind of alert, because I'll use Sheatley breath, straw breath at that time because my body feels warm. This is great for any women who have hot flashes. It's extremely beneficial for that. It will help you navigate your way through a hot flash pretty well. So diaphragmatic breath is best, but how do you focus on the nose? You're still breathing in and out of the nose, but the diaphragm, and why this is so important to breathe into the diaphragm, is because you are stimulating your vagal nerve. You are telling, which is the longest nerve in the body that's connected to the brain, that tells the brain, which goes to the amygdala. So when the vagal nerve either says, oh, yay, I'm calm. So when you're breathing through the diaphragm, you are sending signals to your brain that you are safe, that you are relaxed, and that you're comfortable. When you're breathing only through the chest, you are feeding that fight, flight, or freeze. So again, that diaphragmatic breath, but you're breathing through the nostrils. Breathing through your mouth is too much of a rush into the body and you overwhelm. So you want to be breathing in and out a controlled breath through the nostrils, and it helps to slow the body down. Okay. Why do I start yawning throughout the breathing exercise? Because your body's doing what it's supposed to do. It's relaxing. So congratulations. I love that. Does it make a difference if you're left-handed? Nope, actually does not. Demonstrate diaphragmatic breath. Okay, let's look at that then, since somebody asked me about that specifically. Let's look at it from a yogic perspective and a 3-part yogic breath. Okay, so if you can imagine, you are filling a water bottle from bottom to top. And that water bottle's base is your belly button, chest, throat. That's breath in. Breath out is throat, chest, belly. And you practice this when you close your eyes. And we'll practice this now, as a matter of fact. So once you go find that comfortable seated position, this is great when you're laying down because you can really feel the belly rise. So if anyone's laying down, try this as a visualization, okay? Close the eyes and find your rhythm of your breath. Just find that rhythm. And then slowly begin to expand your rhythm. Imagine every breath is drawing in spaciousness. Every breath out is releasing tension. Focus on your breath, in spaciousness, out tension. Now I want you to imagine, with your next breath in, you inhale, you can feel your belly expand, your chest expand, finish the inhalation at the throat. Exhale, throat, chest, belly. All breath in and out of the nostrils. Now taking this one step further, inhale, belly expands, chest expands, finish the inhalation at the throat. Exhale, throat, chest, belly. Now pull the belly all the way back towards the spine, really helping the lungs empty completely. Inhale, the belly expands or rises towards the ceiling. Expand the chest, finish at the throat. Exhale, throat, the chest contracts. Then pull that belly button back towards the spine. And I want you to continue this for 5 more rounds of breath. Inhaling belly, chest, throat. Exhaling throat, chest, belly. And if it helps to place your hand on your belly button just to feel and connect with the body, to recognize that you are breathing into the belly, into that diaphragm, feeling the flow. Your breath in, the belly rises, the chest rises like a wave. You rise, breath out, you relax. One more round of breath. And when you finish, return to normal and open the eyes. So that gives you an idea of diaphragmatic breath. And if you are laying in bed at night and you want a visual image to keep you out of your thoughts and focused on your body and your breath, if you put your hand on your belly button and one hand on the heart to really breathe into the palms of your hands as you're lying there on your back, you can imagine placing a small book on your belly button so that you can imagine lifting that book up towards the ceiling as you breathe in, and then relaxing that book back down towards the mattress as you breathe out. And the diaphragmatic breath, like I said, you're stimulating the vagal nerve in a way that's calming. It's calming your body and it's calming your mind. And it's the mind is the thing that keeps you awake at night. It's not your body, because your body is born to do what it's born to do. It's how we were created. So I'm going to scroll back through any questions that may have popped up. The 5-5, can you do this any time of the day? I actually recommend that you start at any time of the day, because what you're trying to do is reprogram your body. You were born breathing properly. You were born breathing diaphragmatically. That's how every human being is born. However, we learned how to breathe by watching our parents, by watching our siblings. My mother suffered from anxiety when I was a child. I learned to breathe by watching my mom hold her breath. So when I learned to breathe properly, it changed my life, and it's changed my mother's life because she's also been one to be a student of breath work as well. My mom's 75. So watching her breathe properly helps her handle the work that she does. It helps her as a president of an organization here in South Florida. So all I can say is just start. Give yourself 2 minutes if that's what you can get. That's what you can do just to start with, especially if you've not been breathing fully most of your life. Is start in the morning. Let's say you've had lunch. After you've had lunch, give yourself 2 to 5 minutes of 5-5 box breath, because when you do this, not only with the diaphragmatic, because 5-5, you're holding your breath in, holding your breath out, and you're getting the full breath, is you're also helping to stimulate your digestive juices, which are going to help you digest your food, take in nutrition. So the quality of your body's health is going to improve. Okay. So just all I can say is just start. You can't get your breath down into your belly because you're a shallow breather. It just takes practice. You were born this way and you are going to be returning that way. So it just takes practice. And I will say for most of us who cannot get breath into the belly, it's because we suffer from panic and anxiety. We are extremely nervous people. So it does take practice, but I trust me, you can get there. The deviated septum, I don't have, because you have an issue with breathing through one nostril. So I would definitely talk to your doctor about how to deal with the deviated septum. But I know that obviously there's a breath called alternate nostril breath. It's not something you can do, but because we fear we're not going to get enough oxygen into the body, that sends into us a panic attack. And so that is counterintuitive to where we're trying to go with our breath work. So I would just say relax into your breath and trust your breath. Trust your breath. If you can learn to control your breath, you will learn to trust your breath. And when you begin to breathe more fully, your body will relax with itself and you won't have the stress, the mental stress that comes with having a deviated septum. People who snore, that goes into learning ideal breath, because what happens is when you snore and you're not, because your throat muscles are so relaxed, they're not strong. So to counter snoring, singing, humming will help to strengthen the muscles in the back of the throat and the back of the tongue. even reading out loud. But because these muscles in the throat have gotten so relaxed over time, they're just not strong enough. So you just need to ring. It's like exercise. You go to the gym and work out and lift weights. That will help you. Let's see, what else can I say? Any more questions you have? Straw breath done. Straw breath done in the box style breathing, or is just 5 inhalations, 5 exhalations. I would do 5 in, 5 out with straw breath. You don't have to count it. It's one of those things that just helps to cool your body down. Because if you're trying to cool the body, but the mind is still going, it's counterintuitive to where you're trying to go to when you go to sleep at night. All right. We have about 5 minutes left until it's time to wrap up, but I want to thank you for tuning in, for so many of you staying with me this evening. I hope that you have a nugget of a takeaway so that you can go home or if you are home watching this, is begin to practice the level of mindfulness. It starts with your breath. Your breath is something that is vital. I mean, if you look at, we can live 3 weeks without food. We can live 3 days without water. We can only live 3 minutes without breath. So if anything in your life to make a change with is your breath, it is the ripple effect it will have on how you respond to life versus the reactive patterns we've all gotten ourselves into will make such a significant change. It will change how you handle stress. It will change how you handle your life. It will change and improve your relationships. And the best part about it is because we all have to breathe. But when you're nervous or anxious or stressed out, nobody has to know if you're sitting there counting your breath. The only person who knows is you. So keep breathing. Keep breathing, my friends. All right. I want to thank you to all of the AARP members and non-members who joined us tonight. I hope you enjoyed our class this evening. A little bit of sleep, a little bit of breath, and may the two be intertwined for you so well that the both of them improve the quality of your life. So again, my name is Yvette Sechrist McGlasson. I thank you again for your time. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share with you 2 things that I'm so passionate about. I hope you have a blessed night and have an awesome rest of your week.